Today on the newscast, breaking news: 4 Israelis murdered in a terror attack. How will Israel respond? That's coming up. Hey folks, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast. We have breaking news today, the kind of news that I hate to report, but that unfortunately I need to report on a far too frequent basis. Another deadly terror attack in Israel. Now, it happened today, Tuesday, June 20th, in the Israeli community of El-E. It is north of Jerusalem in the biblical heartland, and 2 Palestinian terrorists that the Israel Defense Forces believe were affiliated with Hamas, surprise, surprise, opened fire and again gunned down 4 Israelis in cold blood, murdered them, and wounded at least 4 more. And all of this happens, folks, when leaders from Hamas and its fellow Iran-backed terror group, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, are in Iran now meeting with top Iranian leaders, including the president, Ibrahim Raisi. But I'm sure it's all just a coincidence or not. We'll break it all down in a minute. Number one, what exactly happened today in this heinous, deadly terror attack, the larger ramifications of Iran's involvement and Iran's intent to turn Judea and Samaria, or the West Bank as the world calls it, into a new terror front and terror hub, and also what will Israel's response be? Before I get into it, real quick, a quick reminder to subscribe to the Watchman News channel right here on YouTube and click the notification bell so you get alerts every time a new video is posted, folks. As you can see, when news happens, when news breaks in the world's most volatile and strategic region, the Middle East, we are bringing it to you right away. Analysis, in-depth analysis on what exactly happened and what it all means, larger picture for you, and of course a biblical perspective as well, so be sure to subscribe. Okay, let's get into it. What exactly happened today? Yet another heinous, deadly terror attack in Israel. These 2 terrorists, again, who were apparently, I say were because they were eliminated, more on that in a minute, but they were affiliated with the terror group Hamas. They went into the Israeli community of El-E. They opened fire at first a hummus restaurant, reportedly, and then they went next door to a gas station. Ultimately, 4 Israelis were left dead in this shooting spree by 2 gunmen. We know that at least one of the Israelis was a 21-year-old young man. The other was 17 years old. They lost their lives. Now, the attackers, one was killed by an armed civilian, reportedly, on the scene. The other fled. He was eventually caught and killed as well. On yesterday's newscast, we talked about a major clash in Jenin in the northern West Bank, or northern Samaria. It went down yesterday, June 19th, where Israeli soldiers and border police were targeted in Jenin by forces from the terror group Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Now, 6 terrorists were killed reportedly in those clashes. Several IDF and Israeli border police were also wounded and had to be evacuated from Jenin. But that was the backdrop. Palestinian Islamic Jihad, their local Jenin branch, claimed responsibility for this onslaught against Israeli forces who entered that city, just to rewind a bit, to detain 2 wanted men in that city. When they entered Jenin, they were attacked. A roadside bomb detonated underneath an Israeli armored vehicle. Also, terrorists opened fire and hurled explosive devices at Israeli soldiers and border police. So a major clash went down. If you missed our newscast yesterday, you want to know more about it, just check it out here in our archives under newscast. Fast forward now to today and this terror attack in El-E, this deadly terror attack. Now, the bigger picture here, we'll get to the Israeli response, potential response, but the bigger picture is, what is Iran's role in this? And I ask that for one very simple reason. These 2 terrorists were reportedly members of Hamas. Yesterday, the terror onslaught in Jenin was spearheaded by Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Both Hamas and Islamic Jihad are Iranian proxies. Not only that, as I mentioned a minute ago, the leadership or top leaders of both terror outfits are in Iran right now, folks, meeting with top Iranian officials who made statements, including Ibrahim Raisi, the Iranian president, who made statements saying, yes, we are encouraging them to continue attacking and, quote, resisting the Zionist entity. So they're all meeting together, top leaders from Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and Iran in Tehran, and then this happens. Do you think it's a coincidence? Do you really think it's a coincidence? I don't either. So the head of the snake, it's proven once again, resides in Tehran. Not the Iranian people, but the Iranian regime. This regime is the fount of all terror in the region, whether it's Hamas and Islamic Jihad, whether it is Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, those Shia militias in Iraq and Syria, that entire ring of fire of Iranian proxies that surrounds Israel. The head of the snake, again, is in Tehran. And as we reported yesterday on the newscast, the Iranian regime seeks to open a new terror front in the West Bank, or Judea and Samaria, as we call it here in the newscast, because that's what the Bible calls it, folks. It is the biblical heartland. Iran wants to turn that biblical heartland into another front, a war zone against the world's one and only Jewish state. And it is a multi-front offensive that the Iranian regime is planning. Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, quite possibly with the Houthis, and they need to open another front there in Judea and Samaria, or as the world calls it, the West Bank. That is Iran's ultimate goal, which brings us to the ultimate response from Israel. Obviously, Israelis are grief-stricken, they're outraged, they're angered by what went down today. Benjamin Netanyahu said, the Israeli Prime Minister said that all options are on the table in terms of an Israeli response. Some members of his government are urging a strong, overwhelming, very strong response against the terror apparatus in Judea and Samaria. We shall see what the response will be. Would Hamas be targeted directly in some manner, since these were Hamas members? And by the way, Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad came out praising and celebrating these attacks. No surprise there. But would Hamas be directed in some fashion directly? What about Islamic Jihad after what went down yesterday in Jenin? How will Israel respond here? And what about the Iranian regime? If indeed the Iranian regime's fingerprints are all over the events of the past 2 days in Jenin and in LE, how will Israel react to that? Will Iran feel any blowback as well from that? Will there be some kind of Israeli response that targets Iran in some form or fashion? Because again, you can react against Hamas and Islamic Jihad, but the head of the snake is the Iranian regime. Folks, we're keeping a very close eye on this. Could we see a major Israeli military operation in Samaria, in particular, in the northern West Bank, where you have Jenin and Nablus, which have been, I'm sad to say, two terror hotbeds for several years, and in recent months, activity there has really been picking up, not only Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Hamas, but also a group called the Lion's Den in Nablus. We've reported about this here on the newscast. Is Israel reaching the point where we have more and more dead Israelis and seriously wounded Israelis? Is Israel reaching the point where they're saying, wait a minute, we need to go in, there needs to be an operation to root out the terrorists from these areas? Again, stay tuned. We will monitor Israel's response very closely in the days to come. I'm sure that we will talk about this tomorrow on the Watchman Newscast live stream. That's tomorrow, Wednesday, June 21st, between 4 and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on our channel. We're going for a solid hour live, and we are taking your questions for our Q&A session, so be sure to join us live tomorrow. And we'll talk also about the prophetic perspective to all of this. What does it all mean from a prophetic sense? You won't want to miss it live tomorrow. Until then, keep the people of Israel, the people of LE in your prayers right now. God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman Newscast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload, and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. And don't forget to share your thoughts, insights, and comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.